This is when Tom Brady's jersey, you broke the story, was stolen
on your show.
Yes. Thank you for the ratings boost. So you guys did a documentary on it. Is that it?
Yes.
And when does it air?
It airs before our pregame show.
It airs Saturday, actually.
It does?
I think.
Well, that's before our pregame show.
Well, we're not hosting this show. We don't have to know when that airs. You're hosting this show. Read the plug.
I'm just
Saturday this weekend.
Saturday at 7 Eastern. It's called The Great. Thank you, Sam. The Great Brady Heist. But, you know, by the way,
it was. If you remember, it was a wild day because right before we went on your show, we broke different pieces of the news throughout.
You had video.
We had the video, right. And we had a couple different videos we had throughout the couple of days. But I remember when we originally first got, found the person's name. I was up there with Eric Shanks, our boss, in his office. And we got the guy's name. And right off the bat, I was like, wait. Let's make sure this guy has nothing to do with the cartel, because if he does, Brady's not getting his jersey back. Sexy, we got kids. So we immediately called some of our MVP veteran guys who are pretty high up there in the intelligence field, I guess you should say, just making sure. Because
just
if
people,
he was not getting his jersey back.
It was after the Super Bowl against the Falcons in Houston, and after the game, his jersey that was game worn disappeared.
Yes.
And he said a reporter had come in and they caught him on camera, and then Jay broke it down. But for a lot of people, they were like, what are you talking about? That's when it happened, after the Super Bowl comeback against the Falcons.
Yeah, this guy who's an international reporter, been around for years and years and years, stole Brady's jerseys, two different Super Bowls. He had Von Miller's home, and actually I have on my phone through the FBI all these pictures of stuff that was in the guy's house. There's Walter Payton jerseys, there's it goes all Montana jersey, all different things, but they only took Von Miller's helmet back and Brady's two jerseys, and they left the rest of it. I don't know why.
Like the public doesn't trust the media enough. Yeah. We need people who are stealing Tom Brady's jersey. Curt Menefee and Jay Glazer joining us. So I'll start with some news yesterday. I did not watch the Pro Bowl because of the tragedy with Kobe Bryant. I was told by Joy this morning about Drew Brees in retirement. Curt, put your news hat on for a second. What is the story on that?
Well, I think Jay is as close to Drew and Sean Payton, those guys down in New Orleans, as anyone. So I'll let him take it. But, I
don't know them.
Really, basically, he's trying to decide whether or not he comes back for another year. His contract is up. So if he comes back, I think he's been public in saying he's coming back to New Orleans or he's going to retire. Yeah. He's not going to go and bounce around and do that kind of thing. And I think just people are wondering. He's turned 41 years old this year. I think those 5 weeks off certainly benefited him, but nothing lasts forever. So I think that this is a crossroad for him as he tries to decide, can I get in this for another couple of years while the Saints still have a chance, or is it time for me to go out, on top, if you will?
This is interesting. So Eli, very nice, tidy ending. I don't think there's a huge market for Phillip Rivers. I have suggested Tom should retire. He won't. And now Drew Brees. Right. The league is changing at quarterback. It is becoming a very dynamic position. I think Drew Brees, listen, Tom and him both feel emotionally, one more year we can win a ring. Today, if I ask you about Drew Brees, Jay, do you think he comes back?
So Drew's in a different position than anybody else. The Giants have moved on from Eli. The Chargers moved on from Phillip Rivers. Brady has a choice where he's going to want to go. Brees, it's Saints or nobody. And Sean Payton's already said, yeah, if he wants back, he's back. It's not a question in his mind. It's just the question of what Drew wants to do. They do have their quarterback of the future on the roster, too. That quarterback will be Taysom Hill. Taysom, they believe, is a franchise quarterback, and especially you've seen what Lamar Jackson's been able to do. So they think they have him there. But Sean has been very, very clear. If Drew wants it, we want Drew. We still want Drew as long as Drew wants to go. So this isn't a situation like the other guys where they're kind of pushing him out the door. They're welcoming him with open arms if he wants to come back.
Yeah, there are very few quarterbacks in my life. I've said this before. I always felt this. Russell Wilson feels, my sister doesn't love football, fell in love with it because of Russell Wilson. He is Seattle. Drew Brees, maybe more than any quarterback in my life, feels like his city, which is ironic because he didn't start there. He is
But he saved, I think a lot of people look at it,
that city.
He saved that city, that franchise.
Yes.
People forget when the Hurricane Katrina happened, it was all done. They were moving to San Antonio. There was no revival. There was no coming back. He came there instead of going to Miami. Obviously, people have heard the story that the doctors in Miami say, hey, his shoulder's not good enough. He wound up not playing there, goes to New Orleans. The rest is history. But he committed himself, and his family did, and became a part of rebuilding New Orleans, not just from a football standpoint, but from a city standpoint. And that town, that city, I believe, will forever be indebted to him no matter what he does in the future.
Sean and him and Steve Gleason is just incredible what they did. And that was one of the selling points that Sean had for Drew. When Drew went on his recruiting visit, if you will, Sean knew how charitable Drew is, so they went and drove around to areas in need. And he thought, so it wasn't the money part that he knew he'd be able to sell, it was the human factor, the blessing factor that they thought Drew would really kind of touch him to go to New Orleans, and it worked.
By the way, I want to also, if I may, segue into Tom Brady. There are a lot of reports, and there's a lot of different NFL reporters. Jay, I've got great admiration for you. You are not in the volume business. You're in the accuracy business.
Damn right.
Same for you, Curt.
Damn right.
The Tom, I do believe, though, and I'm in the speculation business often because news breaks. I think the Tom story feels fluid to me. I have moved cross-country 4 times and have made a decision in the very last day. I feel like with Tom, he has not made up his mind yet, and there's a wife to consider. And is it fluid? Because it feels fluid to me, Jay.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what people keep wanting an answer now. Free agency's still a month and a half away. A lot happens between now and then. Look, when Peyton Manning went on his free agency tour, all right, there's a lot of people thought, oh, maybe he's going to go down to Tennessee because that's where he's obviously tied in over there. And there's so many different things that happen. When he went down there, they gave Peyton a playbook. They said, hey, here's going to be our playbook. We need you to learn it. When the Broncos brought him in, they said, it was John Fox said, we know you're going to throw everything into your rehab. You decide the playbook. Like, it's your playbook. So don't worry about that. And that really swayed him in going to Denver. So you don't know what's going to happen between now and, any of these visits and what happens behind the scenes. People are trying to speculate where he's going to go. And, he's not going to fit in everywhere because, there's going to be a lot of systems he's not going to want to be part of.
And at his age, he doesn't want to start off over with a team that's, not going anywhere, rebuilding. He needs a winner. There are very few places that are winners right now. And I also think that if I'm Tom Brady, I'm in a situation also where if I've got control for the first time, I'm going to wait and see what the Patriots do. Maybe the Patriots go out and do something different than they've done in the past, and they sign a free agent. They need some help on offense. Yeah. If they go out and they sign the right pieces and they say, hey, can you come back for one more run? Then it's a much better situation to stay there than to go to the Chargers or somewhere else trying to chase it. But if they don't do that, then the door, I think, is open. And I do think it's fluid from that standpoint because he doesn't know what the offers are going to be. He doesn't know what the Patriots are going to do. And so there's a lot of moving pieces that I think people want answers to in January. We probably won't have answers to until March.
And he, for decades, have given the Patriots a hometown discount. I don't know how much that's going to play a part in here because he's not going to have to. But if I'm the Chargers, too, just business model, I go, all right, here's a check. Yeah. And then you write in all the commas you want. Just let us know.
I don't see, if it's up to Robert Kraft, money being the difference. I think if he comes back and says, I want to come back, but here's the number, I cannot imagine. Now, Belichick's a different story, but I can't imagine Kraft moving on based off of money. But I think there's so many other factors other than money this is going to come down to.
By the way, I'd be remiss if I did not ask, Curt, you are a California native, Los Angeles. Jake Glazer yourself, you have those remarkable performance centers. You deal with athletes in training. One of the things we discussed with Kobe Bryant today was his devotion and his passion and his work ethic. There are countless stories of people coming to the gym at 6 a.m. And Kobe's leaving after a 2-hour workout. Whether it's Kobe or not, you watch athletes, you push athletes to the discomfort level constantly.
Push their breaking point, absolutely.
I read so many stories last night about Kobe literally outworking the hardest guy in the gym, and you see that from pro athletes regularly.
Yeah, greatness is what you do when no one's watching, and that's what Kobe did. I would always tell these athletes, hey, find out who the best is and do more than them. It's pretty easy. And you think it is. You think it's simple, and most of them aren't willing to do it. But we bring up Drew Brees, the time we walked in on him in the Saints facility at 10:45 at night. He was the only one there. And I looked at him, I said, what are you doing? He's like, sometimes trying to be great is lonely. And
great line.
And I told him, I said, I'm so stealing that from you. But That's what makes Kobe different. The Drew Brees is different, but Kobe really took it to a different level. That's why there was so much respect. When you have other athletes and other great athletes who are going to you for advice for anything, what books do you read? What do you eat? What do you do for sleep? That's when you know you're the best of the best and you transcend everything.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.